So there's no doubt we have a big challenge on our hands this year for Rosh Hashanah. And that is that we are not going to be able, due to the lockdown, to observe some of our vital traditions of Yom Tov. Because of the government restrictions, we are prevented from keeping certain time-honored customs that have been observed every year for generations. But this year, it's not possible. Like, for example, one tradition that we won't be able to do this year is talking about our guests the minute they walk out the door. This is something the Jews have been doing from time immemorial, that we invite people into our home for a meal. We give them food, and the minute they leave, we spend the rest of the evening speaking about how irritating they are. Did you see what she was wearing? Oh, this guy tells the same joke every year. The one about eating raisins and celery, so you get a raisin celery. Or that's your side of the family. It's not my side of the family. Why do we have to always have them? I served them a whole meal, and all she can say is that Simus was not the same as the way her grandmother made it. It's et cetera, et cetera. And then we invite them back for next Yom Tov. This will not be possible this year, as we cannot have guests in our home as it stands at the moment. Although I should mention that there has been an appeal to the Minister of Health for an exemption, that each Jewish household should be allowed one annoying relative, preferably someone who's already double vaccinated, so they can kvetch about how hard it was to get an appointment, but they had to find connections and they got in. But it's not looking promising, because there was discussion about a length of time. You can only have people in your home for a certain amount of time, perhaps that would be allowed. But once they realized how long it takes for Jews to say goodbye at the end of a meal, forget it. It's not happening, basically. So we won't be having guests this year, annoying or otherwise. At our Rosh Hashanah table, it's going to be just us. For some people, that means being completely alone. Others with just our immediate household. But either way, it's going to be a very different Rosh Hashanah night for all of us. It wouldn't be surprising if we would feel a bit down about this, feel a bit dejected, a sense that how are we going to get through this? But we can't afford to feel that way, because everything we do on Rosh Hashanah night has a huge impact for the year to come. It's an extremely powerful night. We're creating the new year. And so we have to be careful about every single move we make. There was no one who knew this better than one of the great Kabbalists. Rabbi Yehuda Pataya was his name. Rabbi Pataya understood the Kabbalistic teaching that the new soul of the year enters as Rosh Hashanah comes in. We get a new soul, not just for ourselves, but for the entire world. And the energy of the year is determined by our actions. And so that's why we're so careful about our traditions, about what we eat on the night. We eat sweet foods because we want to bring down sweetness for the entire year. Rabbi Yehuda Pataya was a very deep, powerful Kabbalist. He lived about 100 years ago, a bit more, in Israel for much of his life, in Jerusalem. And his table, Rosh Hashanah table, is very special. He kept the Baghdadi customs, the customs of Iraqi Jews, where they eat many, many, many different foods. They don't just dip the apple in honey like most of us do. They eat beets and pumpkins and leeks and gourds and quinces and things that I didn't even know were foods. And there's a whole, it's like a Seder they have. And so he would keep this custom very strictly, because each one of these foods represents a different blessing that you want to bring down into your life for the coming year. And on the night of Rosh Hashanah, we want to introduce these blessings. And so he was very strict about all of these traditions. He had a very big table, many guests. And it happened one year that early on in the meal, after they were going through the various traditions and eating the foods, one of the guests got up for a minute, stood up from the table, and it seemed that somehow he pulled the tablecloth with him. It seemed that maybe instead of tucking his napkin in, he tucked the tablecloth in, and as he stood up, he pulled the entire tablecloth. The problem was that right in front of him was a huge candelabrum of all the beautiful oil candles that the Rebbitzin had lit, the Yontiv candles. And this was the light for the room. I mean, we're talking about 100 or so years ago in Jerusalem. There was no electricity in their house. This was the light shining in their room, in their dining room. He pulled, as he stood up, pulled the entire tablecloth with the candelabrum, and the whole thing smashed on the ground, oil everywhere, all the lights extinguished, and they were in the dark. Rabbi Yehuda, sitting at the head of the table, was silent. He didn't say anything, but in his mind, surely he was thinking, what does this mean? Darkness on the night of Rosh Hashanah, on the night where everything is significant. What does that symbolize? What's in store for this coming year if we're in darkness now? But he didn't say anything. Anyway, they continued the meal. The Rebbitzin was bringing out the tray of fish to serve the guests. But in the darkness, she tripped, bumped into something, and fell, and the fish went smashing on the floor with a huge noise all over the floor. A big Iraqi fish with all the spices and sauces all over the floor. And, you know, the fish is also very symbolic. The head of the fish we eat, we should be the head. The fish is all over the floor now in the darkness. And again, like, what does this mean? What type of year is coming if all of this stuff is going wrong? What's going to be? So at this stage, Rabbi Yehuda was concerned as what to happen. So he got up and started walking to see what had happened with all this noise. And as he's walking, he slips in the fish sauce and lands smack into it. Now, he's on the floor. This is Rabbi Yehuda Patai, a great Kabbalist, on the night of Rosh Hashanah, smashed on the floor in the fish. I should mention that there's a Kabbalistic tradition to wear pure white garments on festivals and holy days, which Rabbi Yehuda was careful to do because whiteness represents that purity and holiness and positivity. His white garment was now covered in schug and all different colored sauces in the Middle Eastern tradition. And this was his Rosh Hashanah. What type of year is this bringing in? Rabbi Yehuda used to tell this story on reflection, and he said, let me tell you, that year was the best year of my life. It was the sweetest year of my life. I cannot tell you how many good things happened in that year. Everything I touched was successful. Everything was good in that year. It was an incredible, one of those special years. May we all have one. And he said, do you know why? Because I didn't get angry once that Rosh Hashanah. Yeah, the candelabra fell on the floor and we were in the dark, smashed everywhere, a mess. Yes, the fish was all over the floor. Yes, I fell on the floor and my white garments were covered in sauce. But I didn't get angry at any of that. And that's why that year was the sweetest year ever. You see, if we eat sweet foods with a sour face, it doesn't work. These are not magical things. We eat these sweet foods to put ourselves into a mindset of sweetness and positivity. But it's not the food that makes it. It's the mindset, it's the intention. This year, we have to have honey on the table, but we have to have honey in our hearts and in our minds as well. We have to make sure that we look at the sweetness of our situation. Yes, it's difficult and it is challenging, but think about the beauty of the human beings around you that has come out in this time particularly. Think about the special effort that people have made to connect with you and to make sure that you're looked after. Think about the goodness that is coming out even in this challenging time, specifically in this challenging time. Because as we sit at our Rosh Hashanah table, We are beckoning in a new year. We're happy about that. We're happy for some new energy. We've all faced challenges, and that's a part of our life. But they don't have to be seen as bitter and sour. We can see the sweetness within. So my blessing to you and myself and all of us is that as we enter this year, may it be a year only of real sweetness. Yes, sometimes the fish falls and the light and the lights go out. We've had some darkness, but darkness doesn't have to be sadness. Let's make it sweet and light and holy and happy. Let us wear white, pure garments and go into this new year with a positivity. If you'll be sitting at your table alone or just with a few people, think positive. Think positive about the people in your life. Be thankful for them. And maybe this year we can stick to a new custom that when, please God, soon we'll be able to have many guests at our table and be guests at other people's table. When they walk out the door, we can only say nice and sweet things as well. Shana Tova. Thank you very much.